Yep.
Hello all. Hello all of Issaquah. This is Vice Chair Mary Brown. Chairing for our chairman Jaime, who is will join us in a bit. And we're opening the Issaquah Human Services Commission at 6:35 and call to order. Any public comments?
Yeah, before we go into public comments, I just want to call out, like you mentioned, Jaime's going to be joining us late. And then we have a Trisha Marshall just joining us. Is that Trish? Or Laura, it's Trisha with Cultural Bridges.
Yeah. Trisha is ISF
Sorry.
Executive Director. So yes.
Yeah,
so
sorry, I couldn't get to my
like,
unmute button.
So she is supporting me.
Wonderful. All right, Trisha, so happy to have you here. We'll have your presentation starting here shortly. And so we are just missing two commissioners who might be joining us late, JD and Trish Floor. So we will see if they can join us shortly. And then moving on to our public comment, I just want to introduce, we do have one member in person for public comment. Christina, would you mind introducing yourself? And so welcome.
Yeah, I'm Christina. I'm the board chair of the Downtown Issaquah Association, and our office is the historic Shell gas station on Front Street. So as you know, we interact quite a bit with unhoused folks, whether they're here in Issaquah or passing through. So I always like to be engaged as to what's happening. And I also saw Cultural Bridges was on the agenda. So I'm super excited to hear an update from your team. And just want to say thanks to everybody that's serving on a commission. I know it's more evening work for everybody to do, but you're doing meaningful work and it is making a difference to the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, then next is the approval of minutes from November 19th and January 7th. So here.
Commissioner Fish, and I move that we approve the minutes. Do they have to be approved separately or can they be approved together?
You can approve them together.
Okay, I move that we approve the minutes from our meetings of November 19th and January 7th.
And this is Maury Edwards. I second that.
Have been moved to be approved and second. And take that as a note and go to our agenda items. And first on our agenda item is a nonprofit presentation by Cultural Bridges.
Wonderful. Well, welcome, Laura. Welcome, Trisha.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for having us here. It's really our pleasure and honor to present our Cultural Bridges program, which is under the Issaquah Schools Foundation. Here to everyone that what we're doing and what have we achieved so far. Can I share my screen?
You should be able to. Do you see a share by your
Yes.
button? Yeah, please
Okay,
do.
thank you. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's good. So let's start with, just bear with me. See how then, okay. So first, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Laura Ni, and I coming from China, Shanghai, China, initially like 25 years ago. I have undergraduate degree and master degree in Michigan for computer science and AI data retrieval degree. And then I was in the one of the online content retrieval manager at an online daily publishing company for 8 years. It's in the Seattle. And also right now, I am the Issaquah PTSA Council President, as well as I'm the staff in the Circle Community Navigator. And also I am the ISF staff for the Cultural Bridges, and I'm Cultural Bridges manager. So I'm kind of like multitasking. And I start with this Cultural Bridges editing and publishing job at ISF since 2020. So this is my 5 years, 6 years, or 5 years working with Cultural Bridges. And I will start my presentation to show you guys the ISD, our school, Issaquah School District demographic. I think, I don't know how many of you might know, actually our demographic had changed dramatically. In 2022-23, the entire district, we have almost 20,000 students, but we are having like about 42% white students and 58% of student of color, and with like 7.3% of English language learners. And this year, we have about 19,000 students across the district, and we are about right now 38.2% white students, and our students of color percentage right now is 61%, almost 62%. And then even though we have saw the enrollment decrease, however, our English language learner number, actually when you see it, it's still kind of 7.7. It's more than 2000, more than 10, 12 years ago. So that means the needs and the needs for the language support is still pretty significant in our district. And that is why we're here for our magazine, Cultural Bridges magazine. So I just want to also start sharing some history behind Culture Bridges magazine. We started, there is like 2013, 2014, there is two Latino parents start trying to create a resource to help Latino families. That is a very like initial program they are trying to do. But the magazine itself, it doesn't really start it until 2015 and 2016 school year. So this is the first magazine, like I just give you the some sense like how this magazine looks like, the first one. It is in English and Spanish. And then that's only that by then there is only 3 people working on this magazine, and there is 3 bi-monthly magazines available annually. But we are start to also at the same time, we're trying to work with the school district to see what kind of help that we can partner with the district to help out with our families, especially like Latino family at that time. However, now is we just celebrate our 10th year anniversary last year, 2025. So 10 years later, we right now what we have the team is like one manager like me, and then we have 8 editors, 3 proofreaders, one cover designer, one photographer, and 2 community helpers. And then we publish in 8 different languages: Arabic, Chinese, English, Japanese, Korean, Russian, Spanish, and Vietnamese. We now publish one annual family guide to help family navigate school system from preschool to high school graduation. And we also have 3 issues per year with 1 issue combined with family guide published, but right now we published online only. So we print out paper copies for 7 or 8 years, but however, because of the paper cost and all the online social media blow up right now, so we decided to discontinue publishing the paper copy, but just publish online right now. So we also attended or supported more than 20 district-wide events or workshops, including ISD Resource Fair, ISD Family Partnership Workshops, district schools cultural events, city cultural events, etc. So we actually reach out to our communities to know what their needs, to listen and to understand what their needs, so that way we know what things that people want to see in the magazine and what they want to learn about. And we also partner with multiple community organizations like the Garage, the Circle, PAPS, Issaquah PTSA Council, Issaquah Food and Clothing Bank, and King County Library Systems. And we're also we're keep expanding this community organization partnerships because we know right now, especially these couple years, people need lots of resources from our communities to meet their basic needs or mental health needs. There's lots of needs in our community, and we want to share as many resources as possible to our community, different culture community, to meet their needs, different needs. And I just want to show you, like, this is what looks like for our magazine, the cover page, the flyer, and say this is our 10th anniversary cover flyer. And we published, like, this is the family guide we just published last August. And this is the number 31 is the one we just published in November, last November. So we continuously providing information from the district, from the community, parent, students, and also the resources. And also we providing the culture awareness to our community to let people know, okay, so this is actually one of the culture that existing in our community and what they're doing to what they're celebrating, what their holidays are, how they celebrate it. So it is really the feedback that we got from parents is that it's very interesting to know that different culture celebrate different holidays in our community. And I want to share something like the feedback we got from the community people, normal parents. One of the feedback we is coming from the school PTSA during their general membership meeting. A parent is just like suddenly just sharing how helpful she found our culture bridges are for the information about college preparation and the steps since even though she has lived here for a while, but she grew up and went to school in Canada. So she didn't know the process, but our magazine helped her to understand or have the knowledge about how to get prepared for their kids' college. And also another parent immediately shared that how helpful she found our acronym article in the family guide help her to understand all those acronyms that the district use. Because like I believe many people or majority, even the English speaking families, lots of acronyms, they might not even know what meaning for those. So these are help them to better understand the school systems. And then there's also other comments I just want to share with you is we every time when we talk to a parents, one of the feedback they actually say is they really never know this existing in our school or in our community until they read our magazine. So this is very, and then this is all I just want, I think I just want to, there's lots of more comments that from different, like from Russian community, parents from Japanese community, Korean community. So we got feedback from all the communities that read the magazine, and then mostly they are talking about is this has really helped them to understand or even just realize there is something existing in the district. So we just want to share some navigation ways that we are having. So by 2021-23, we are having like almost like 330 minutes call with families, but that was the one-on-one service and mostly serve as the Spanish-speaking families. But since 2023, July to now, we're actually trying to focusing on understanding all the families' challenges and needs by attending different community meetings and events, and also connect with different groups of people on the social media. So instead of we focusing on one-on-one meeting with just one group, we are trying to actually expanding our navigation and outreach to folks and understanding entire school district communities and parents and get what they want to, because different groups have different needs. So we want to understand different cultural groups, really what they want. And just some facts. We annually attend 15 to almost like more than 20 events and reach almost 2,000 families. Support 5 to 6 school cultural events every year. And also we based on the EVP data, there is like language preference other than, there's families like selected language preference other than English. You can see those numbers, but actually these numbers is not accurate. That's because many families, they are afraid of choosing other language other than English because they felt that their kids will be, you know, um, kind of not, their kids will be get like isolated or learning less than the other kids. So that's why they not choosing the language preference. But even with this data, we know that there is many families that in our district need supports, not only the student but the family as well. So for 10 years, our Culture Bridges has supported ISD family events and helped with hundreds of individual families. This is a pilot program and work very closely with ISD ever since. But since ISD right now has their own cultural and family partnership team, and their family event have been expanded and well known, and they have the 3 district employee family liaisons are actively working with the ISD family one-on-one. So our needs to have the one-on-one support to the district family is kind of redundant with the 3 family liaisons that work in the district. So we want to switch our gear to continue be a resource for all the families instead of just like focusing on the one-on-one. So that is why we right now we're still working pretty closely with the ISD, different department, different admins, different schools, and supporting ISD family events by helping like broadcasting the to different culture groups and supporting the school cultural events. We are continue publishing the community resources from different Issaquah community organizations. So people knows first is they have those organizations in our Issaquah community. 2 is these are the resources that they can ask for or available to them when they need. So that is very important message to the other group cultures, because when they first came here, or they have no idea where to find things. So that one, the more resources we provide to them, the better. This is just briefly tell all of you like how when we publish paper print copies, how many copies that we actually printed out. It's a large number every time. It's over 10,000 copies we print out every single publication. What we do by the time is we manually distribute all those magazines to all the school, to the libraries, to the community partners buildings. So that's lots of printings, and that is a lots of efforts for our volunteers or the editors. So right now, we are fully converted to our online magazine in late 2023, beginning of 2024. However, we did encounter some difficulties for this switch. So we did see the drop in the reads, and then we kind of start to navigate the different ways to increase the reads number. But the good news is, like, if you see for our 2024, we have 15,642 reads, 58 clicks. The clicks means people actually click the links inside the publication. And there's like 133 downloads in 2024. And then in 2025, we have 11,535 reads, but our link clicks is increased like 6 times or 7 times more than 2024. That means people are click our links, actually reading our magazines and click inside the magazine. And we have almost double the downloads number. So one thing I want also share is when people download the magazine, when we kind of losing the control, how many people actually that person share to. So they might share to 10 people, they might share to 100 people. We lost the control when they download the magazine. So that's why I keep saying if we saw the clicks rates higher and the download rate higher, that means we're pretty healthy at this moment. That means the people willing to download and read and share a PDF to their community. And we do have tried lots of different ways to reach out to people. And then we keep adding some new features into each issue and publication since 2005. Like we adding the index page with article link to the page and a homepage button in each of the article, in the end of each article. So that way with the online version, it will help people easily to navigate each articles back and forth. And that works pretty well. The feedback is people think it's easier to find stuff instead of scroll down from page 1 to page 24. And our current marketing tool, including the emails to all the district ELL, MML team, teachers, all those communications or, family partnerships, PTSA presidents. And then we start to sending the Culture Bridges newsletter to every parents in the district based on their language preference. So if the family language preference is Chinese, we will send that family Chinese Culture Bridges newsletter. And then if they select Russian, we will send the Russian version of the newsletter. So we send in different groups, different language newsletters. And we're using social media like Facebook, Instagram, and reach out to 32 community Facebook pages, groups. And we have shared on 6 WhatsApp groups and 30 WeChat groups and 3 Korean Kakao talks. And then we also, like, if that the editors, we ask editors and also community members to share with us in their communities. We started to print out paper flyers, like 8 different language paper flyers were sent to all ISD schools and 4 ISD libraries, as well as we share with the circle. And the big posters we sent to each school office to put inside their school building. So hopefully when the family and student walk inside the school, they can just scan the QR code and then start read the magazine. So we're saying this is like each publication we are now having between 24 to 28 pages. And that is really need lots of work to put everything together. So as a CB manager, I have to complete like each magazine publication cycle with like about 20 hours per week, and every single Culture Bridges editors, they are translate and proofread each magazine content and also help us promoting the magazines. Each publication, they will spend about like 30 hours to translate and proofread for us. And for the cover designer, that person help us to design all 8 language covers as well as like posters, flyers for each issue. So it's really lots of team efforts to put one publication together every 4 months. And this is just the list of the community parties and resources that we are currently work with. You will see like this, like Issaquah School District, City of Issaquah, Sammamish, King County Library System, Food Bank, all those different organizations that we working with, and they are willing to contribute the articles in our publication. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I have one. Hi, Laura. This is Ray Manahan. Just
Hi.
to comment on, you answered my first question, which is what you have on the screen here is how you increase your distribution is by connecting to all these organizations. So I would assume that if you go onto each of these organizations' website, there's a way to access the link to your publication through there. Is that how you do them? That so people can read it?
That is a good question. Thank you actually, you give a very good idea. I never think about this.
Well done.
So you go into
some of the organization, yes, like districts, yes, they have the Culture Bridges link. I believe like Issaquah also shared our Culture Bridges through their newsletter. And then the Issaquah PTSA Council shared the Culture Bridges publication on their social media, and also I think on the website too. But all the other partners, you just give me the idea. I can tell them like if there's a possibility to put us on their website. So thank you for the idea.
Yeah, I was just going to say for the city.
Yeah.
If that's something that you can
Yeah.
put on a page where somebody's going to issaquah.gov, and then there's a link to that they can easily find. It doesn't have to be on the home page, but if there's a location where it makes sense to put that.
Yeah, we have a resource page.
Yeah.
It may or may not be there, but I'll double check. And if not, that's an easy add.
Yeah.
Great idea.
So that was number one. And then number two, Laura, was I think content is really key, right? You want to keep the folks who are reading it engaged and interested. There's probably a lot of things that are going on at each school. Let's just take Issaquah High School as an example. They must have a journalism department where they know what's going on in the school, where there's a certain area of focus that each school can maybe have a topic that would land on your magazine that would be of interest to the broader community, right? Just to share it broadly.
Yes, so actually we did publish students share like what they're happening at the school, like what's the club, like robotic club, or Chinese class, Chinese language class, or some other activities they experience inside the school. We do have the student writing articles for us to share what they experienced at school and then what is the program they participated. And then we also have like influence the choice. They have the students contribute what is the their voices means for those drug use, say no, how to say no, all those. Yes, we do, including the student voice, and then the student voice and the parent voice are a big part of our magazine. And then
Wonderful.
if you see, like I share the this for our 10th anniversary, just for example, unfortunately this is in Russian, but actually the page, the cover page, it shows the students that in the Skyline High School AI Club. And they share their experience, like how they explore their AI, artificial intelligence, and what the artificial intelligence mean for them at the school, what changed their work, what changed their school experience. So just example of the student voice. And then we do also like this one. I don't know, it's a little bit hard to see, but inside this is a micro school that is one of the new programs that a school district have. And they share the pictures and the what the students doing inside the class. So all those are, yes. So we encourage, and we trying to reach out to different schools students to get their voices.
That's great.
Thank you for your question.
You.
And Laura, this is Commissioner Brown. You answered one of my questions about the family guides you put out. I assume it's 8 different guides, not just one. Is that correct?
It is one family guide containing the information from preschool to high school. So
as far as language wise, is there one booklet or 8 booklets?
Language, there's 8 different language, so 8 different
booklets.
Book, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And secondly, can you tell me what the PEPS is? What is that?
Oh, PAPS. PAPS is actually a parent education, nonprofit parent education organization. They focusing on the Latino families, but now they are trying to reach out to multicultural families, and they provide different parent education, like for example, how to communicate with teenagers, and then also like something like how to get ready for parents and students, how to get ready to navigate this U.S. system for the transition, different grades transition, all those like parent education that can help. Their articles can help parents to understand more on like different group of families. What is the parent? What is the proper way? Mostly like how to support your students, how to support the teenager. What is a way to parenting your kids when they grow up here?
Great. And to Preston, hope you're still there. Are you aware of this? Well,
yeah, sorry, my camera's off because my parents were in the room. But I think I have seen this magazine. I know that they offer it at the front desk, and I know that I've seen it like multiple times at both my high school and at my middle school. At least the old versions when they were back on paper. But I've never actually looked at it. I've never actually downloaded the online version, so maybe I should give that a read.
And for those who don't know, Preston is our youth representative. So thank you, Preston. Good questions.
Laura, I have a follow-up question, just random with all the AI talk. So you mentioned that you have staff that are actually acting as translators to translate the magazine from one language to the other. Is that right?
Yeah.
a lot of online content has done that process is done through AI. So you can hover over an article and then you just say, I'd like to translate this to Tagalog or something, and it's able to do that for you. So I don't know, more and more companies are downsizing because of the computer's ability to do that.
Right.
So if staffing is an issue, that's maybe something that you might want to keep in mind.
Put your staff towards other things, right?
Yeah, so we do think about this, like we also keep talking about like if we can using AI translators instead of person, but the fact is because this lots of content is district specific content. So when you using directly just using the AI translator, there's some content it will translate it very weird. I actually what I find out because I can read Chinese. So there is one time, one of my editor using AI translator to translate a magazine, and I can find out immediately because the content translation is very weird. If you really read it, doesn't make there's lots of places it doesn't make sense because it actually need background knowledge to understand what is this. That's why our translators, our editors are all ISD parents.
Okay, that's great.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's that because there's lots of content is really like ISD related. If they don't have the backend knowledge, it will be very weird translated. Used to have one of the translators. She doesn't have the kids. She didn't have the kids in the ISD, and every single time that's the Chinese translator, and every single time there is one event that she gave me the translation is so off. I was just like very. I have to change change every single time but that's because she doesn't even have the backend story or knowledge about what is this events. And that one it is actually the ISF also found it as the what is that? Oh my gosh, I just forgot, but it's related to the graduation event. Trisha, you might just remind me what is the when that gonna be happening in the March for the high school to explore different opportunity. What is that?
Great careers.
Oh yes, the Great Korea. Yes, exactly. So the Great Korea. We used to publish that the Great Korea in our magazine, and then the translation, the parent that translator doesn't have the knowledge about this Great Korean, and then the title she translated is so off. It's so awful. So that that is why we're saying like yes, we still need a people person have the backend knowledge to translate. Yeah.
Very
interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gould, you had a question?
I know it was more of a comment. I was just going to piggyback off of Preston Manning. I think you were basically trying to get at like the visibility of this magazine. And while I cannot know from a student perspective, from a parent perspective, I will say that it is visible. It caught my attention when I first enrolled my child in the school district. We received a bunch of, different materials like a school calendar, et cetera. And this magazine was one of the things that came in it, and I was immediately taken by it. It was meaningful. I didn't know anything much about the school district, but it made me immediately feel like I was sending my child, who is multiracial, to a place that was inclusive. And it really helped me feel better about sending my child to a school district that I knew nothing about. It was really informative and it was really relevant. So yes, it is visible, and I think it makes a really positive impact. Thank you for all your work on this project.
So
Thank you
important.
so much. Thank you.
Now, what impressed me was the numbers you gave as far as the the student of color. I've been here 35 years, and that is a big difference from when my children went to school here. So appreciate your efforts.
Yes, and then we keep that. That's really also our mission as the bridge, right? We not only not only culture, but also race. They are all the same. We are trying to connect every community groups together, and that is always. That's why we're saying disregard your language. Like even you speak English, this is something that can help you as well. So that's why we felt reach out to all the groups, all the ratios, all the cultures. That is our ultimate missions for the magazine.
Well, Laura, thank you.
Thank you.
So much. Thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Laura, we really appreciate your time, and thank you, Tricia. And you guys are welcome to jump off, or of course, you're welcome to stay as well.
Thank you. I'll start.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Wow. Quite a presentation. I'd like to move on to Human Service Commission work plan.
Yes. Okay, commissioners, we are shifting gears to kind of the big 2026 year. So we have our work plan. This is an action item, so I'm going to need an approval from commissioners with or without edits. We're going to review it this evening. This is a city requirement for all boards and commission in this format for our work plan. And it's basically divided up. You have it printed out in front of you or in your packet, but it is divided into just kind of our general work plans, some administrative tasks, and kind of any other items that we have for the year. For those of you who have been with our Human Services Commission for a while, you have seen the pattern. We're kind of on this every other year where we are reviewing applications and making funding recommendations. And off years, we are usually just trying to follow those dollars, learn about our nonprofits, and get a little more involved in our community. 2026 is a review year, so we have our work cut out for us. And so you can see here kind of going through what it looks like. You've seen in my emails, and you see also in our staff report, the way that my brain works is I think about kind of what's our plan for each commission meeting. We have a pretty set schedule for this year. This is a little bit different format. This is more list in what you can expect from our staff and what we have to get done. Primarily, we have grants. In grants, there's a lot of preparation that has to happen. First, we have our supplemental that we will provide and kind of just send for more information to our commission. We have preparation and training. So this looks like going in more depth of our toolkit. How do we review the application? How do we measure applications? How do we come to recommendations? What's the background? What are our priority areas? So that will be the next couple of months, really setting us up for success in reviewing and what our process is. And then we will have kind of the end goal, which is our recommendations that will be presented to our city mayor and then presented to our city council that is in the city budget. So they don't see these recommendations until around October, November, when they approve the larger budget.
Hannah, are those, it says 2027, 2028?
Yep. So we are preparing for so we are currently in the grant cycle of 2025 and 26. So in 2024, the commission made funding recommendations for the 2 following years because we're in a biennium funding cycle.
Okay.
So 25 and 26, we've already made your recommendations. We're already contracted with them. Those contracts end December 31st, 2026. And then our new contracts will begin January 1st, 2027.
Okay.
A little complicated. One of the things that I'm really excited about that I think is foundational to the review process is our equity training. So that's actually going to be one of our next meetings, is a joint commission meeting it's going to be a workshop. So we'll go in a little more detail on that, but that's going to be on March 14th. And then, of course, we always like to provide you quarterly updates as we can, division updates, anything related to human services items that we cannot predict in January. That comes up later in the year. So that's kind of the general work plan for this year. And then just our typical administrative tasks we have to get done is we'll have elections. We're actually going to be doing recruiting. The application for boards and commission is now opened. It closes February 15th. So we will have some open positions here on our commission that will need to be filled. So if you have anybody in your sphere or world or that you think would be interested in serving, please let them know that that's online, and you are more than welcome to have them get connected to me if they have any questions. So those interviews will happen in March, and then they will be appointed starting in May. So if terms, we have a few terms ending, end of those terms is end of April, new terms begin in May. And then we will shortly do election of officers.
So we have the joint equity training on the 14th.
Mhm.
Are we still having our 18th meeting?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll go more details of what to, like, our schedule for 2026 in our staff report of kind of what each month looks like. Let's see. And then a few, I think you, from our January meeting, you're aware, we have some of we're part of the transit study focus groups. So we are anticipating to see them one more time in 2026. And that's the only joint meeting that we have on our calendar, the equity training and then the equity board. For now, but that could change.
Yeah. For the transportation.
Mhm.
I did hear back from Thomas.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Good follow-up.
I think the question I asked him was, what was the price of what was going on with the transportation? And told me back when it was developed, it was 14 billion. And now it's 22 to 30 billion. So
Double.
I'm trying to need a little help.
And behind.
Yeah.
Did you ask about the timeline in that same conversation?
But it's gonna, it's gonna move, so.
Yeah.
So commissioners, any questions, any comments, or mostly want to know if there's any edits or if you feel like there are any items that we're missing?
Is there anything you want to highlight in terms of changes that you made, or is this pretty much the same timeline that we've been following?
Yeah, great question. This is very just a general format of what we
Okay.
have. This is our grant cycle year, so you're gonna see on even years this common general work plan is how we typically do it. And again, we'll go through the breakdown of kind of what our month to month will look like for the rest of the year as well.
Are Jay and I the only ones that are new to this process? Have you guys all gone through this before?
That's good.
believe so.
Maury's been on.
Yep.
Huma, I think Huma was on last time, right, Huma?
She was.
And Tricia's.
I'm sorry. I can't tell if somebody just said my name.
I did. You went through the review process last cycle, right? You were with us?
Yeah, I was. Yep. It was me and Trish, and yeah. And then you would join sometimes.
That's right. Yeah, and we currently have a vacant position. So we will anticipate having a new commissioner that will have to kind of get up to speed. Yes.
I have a question, Hannah.
Yes.
This is Maury. I think I need to reapply for my position. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. You still have to go through kind of the same process as if you were new. We'll still do an interview, but the way we're doing interviews is very different this year. So I'm not sure exactly what to expect, other than we have we're trying to do all interviews for all boards and commission on one evening. So in March, basically, we're going to have just a 5-hour sit down and meet people. So I don't know.
What part of March will that be in, Hannah?
I have the date. And again, Maury, I'll double check since I'll see if reapplying commissioners need to do it in a different format. So apologies, I don't have all the details yet, just because we're doing it different. And our
Okay.
city clerk office is kind of leading the the process, but it looks like March 12th.
I
at our
get back in,
seniors-
I get back into town on the 24th.
of March. Oh yeah, that's right. You're
Uh-huh.
gone. Okay,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
will accommodate. We'll accommodate, Maureen. No problem. We'll work it out.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you.
Thanks for the heads up.
Okay.
There you go.
Maybe that brings a bigger question too.
Yes.
This commission, I mean, is that, who would have to reapply if there, is there anybody coming up besides Commissioner Murray in terms of expiration?
Yeah, we have two commissioners' terms ending in 2026. Well, technically three. The 2026 one we had is vacant now, where we had Commissioner Bo step down. And then we have Maury's 2026 4-year term and Manny Brown's 4-year term that will be ending in 2026.
Is that why it says like vice chair and chair?
I'm sitting in the wrong place. Right?
No, I'm liking this.
Yeah. Yeah. So Maury will and Manny will have to decide if they want to reapply, and then we'll go through the process.
Thank you, Hannah.
Sorry, Maury.
I said thank you.
Of course, yeah. And then come May or June, we will need to vote on chair and vice chair positions. So if anybody's interested in that, note that that'll be a month I will 100% be gone. So just note that you will have Brenda taking over as staff liaison. So you may want to consider keeping chairs and vice chairs, or if you are ready to mix it up, could be a year for that as well.
Okay.
So just as it gets closer and you're interested in a vice chair or chair, let's just have a chat about that, and then we'll have an official vote come May or June.
Do you know when we'll get the supplemental information?
Great question. I was just looking at that because that's supposed to be a February topic, but we don't have a February meeting because of a significant religious holiday. It's the first day of Ramadan, so we don't have meetings on those days, and so we decided to cancel that. So it's public information that's going to get posted online. So I can email it to you prior to that, or it would be March 18th is when you would review it, but that's when applications are already open. So it'll already be. It's a pretty copy and paste from last format. So we can even, I can send you the one from last cycle. It basically, a supplemental so we are a part of a 17-city collaboration, but this is our opportunity to say, what's unique about Issaquah? How much funding do we have? What are our priority areas? Are we requesting any other different items in your application? And so that hasn't really changed. We are still aligned with our Human Services Strategic Plan priority areas from our last cycle. So those will continue to be our priority areas. Our funding amount dollar probably will change, and so we are working on finalizing that. Our dollar amount is a calculation that we use our previous year cycles, and it's a fund calculation of COLA and CPI. So our index of people and kind of the dollar amount basically. So we anticipate increases each year is the end goal, but we just need to get that confirmed from our finance team.
You're talking about people in the city, right?
Mhm.
So has there been an increase?
Actually, I've seen decreased numbers, so we'll see. Well, again, we got to provide that. One thing to note, commissioners, with our funding dollar amount is that we did we used, I don't know if you recall, but we had to use the $130,000 opioid settlement funds. We put that into, typically it's general budget funds, but we were pulling from a different bucket for our behavioral health services. So we're just working with our city administration on making sure that we still have the full dollar amount. So more
So we
details
won't
to come
get
on
that
that.
138 from the appropriate.
Correct. That was just a one-time funding that we were able to utilize.
So right there, the number's gonna be smaller than we.
The
In
goal,
theory.
yeah, the goal is to use it as a base salary, but that's we have to confirm with our finance team on that one. Yeah, so the realities, unfortunately. So that's the main thing on the supplement, is basically saying, hey, this is how much money we have. Here are our priority areas. And then it's usually just a one-page, pretty simple item that each city gets to provide. Okay.
Okay.
Any items that you would like to see changed or edited? And if not, can we move forward with them? To approve.
Yeah, well, that's been improved.
This is Commissioner Fish, and I move that we approve the 2026 work plan as presented.
This is Commissioner
second.
Edwards, and I second.
So
Yes, out of second.
sorry, I'm gonna give that one to Ray. I heard his voice first, Ray second. And do we have unanimous consent? Say aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Thank
right, thank you, Anna, and we'll see you again at the Services Grant Annual Performance now.
Me again, okay. Oops, sorry, let me share my screen.
Let's start off by saying it'll be difficult this year because we've had a lot of great presentations.
Yeah.
This past year, and to whittle them down, who we're giving funds to is very good.
Yeah, commissioners, you have one of the hardest tasks, I would say, from boards and commission, making funding decisions that these dollars are going to people and there's just not enough. The need is high, the money is never enough. So that's why we have trainings and toolkits and a strategic plan to help guide and help make these decisions that seem really impossible. So we really are trying to give you all tools so you can make educated, equitable decisions.
How many of the recommendations are accepted by the city?
It really depends on what you all recommend, but for example, for last year, we received 95 applications, and out of those 95, 42 of those programs were funded. Not at 100% request. Some were at 100, some were at 50, depending on how much they were asking. We received $1.2 million in request, and only had just over 600,000. So we anticipate that number on both ends to go much higher. Okay, so for the rest of the evening, commissioners, we are basically just gonna spend time in 2025 and just look at the report for our grants, and then our next item is our division update as well. I'll try to be sensitive to time as I believe we're a little behind. So just please pause me if you have any questions, or otherwise we'll have time to talk afterwards. So this presentation, really, we are looking at, so our human services grants, we contract with them, they provide quarterly reports that we track their scope of works, have they met their service unit goals, have they met their resident goals, and so from that we also receive narratives to learn more about what's going on in their communities and in their services. So I'm just providing an update on that. So in 2025, 2026, we had the exact dollar $612,618,000. Is that right? 34 organizations, 42 programs, and the goal was to serve just under 5,000 Issaquah residents. You can see here, these are our priority areas within our strategic plan. So we look at each program and we label them in one of the 4 categories. You can see there were housing continuum, we had 10 programs, community resources, 12 programs, physical and behavioral health, and then we had our language access and cultural specific services. So in our annual performance review, we look at, did these reports come in time? Were they complete? Did they meet their service unit goal and their resident goal? So we had almost everybody in time send their reports. 100% of them were accurate and complete, which tells me we've trained them well. And then as far as service units, so service units really varies between programs, right? So for unhoused, we might be measuring shelter nights or bed that were served. Other ones could be case management. So the service unit is per hour, or rental assistance, maybe it's a household. So you can see there's such a variation depending on the program, what the service unit is that we're measuring. But this is what we work on, and you'll see in their application what they are applying for, and then we finalize it in the contracting aspect of it. And so some of them have one service unit within the contract, some of them have up to 3. And you can see 40 of the 42 programs did meet their annual service unit goals. And then the 2 that did not were newer programs that were still establishing kind of their relationship with Issaquah community. So we have some good game plans for them to meet their goals for this year.
So how far off were they?
They were under 75%. Yeah. Okay, this number I think is very impressive. So what we do is at Q4, we look at the reports and we see the total residents that they served. So we collected all that information. And you can see 41 of our 42 met that resident goal that they set out for. But you can see how many Issaquah residents combined that our nonprofit served through our human services grant funding was over 22,000.
But a person could be counted more than once if they.
It's very likely
Yeah.
that a good number of this is one person was once at the food bank, but also went to the Issaquah Community Services, but also received services from the Circle. So realistically, this is not the exact number. There's no way with our current system to determine who's not, but regardless, when we're comparing this number to 2024, we saw a 65% increase.
How do you track that they're Issaquah residents that you're serving?
So each organization does it differently, but a lot of them have intakes because a lot of them are city funded and they receive funding from Issaquah and they have their goals for Issaquah, and they also receive funding from Sammamish and Bellevue or Renton. And so they basically have their intake process. So like Issaquah Food and Clothing Bank, for example, not everyone's from Issaquah. And so in order to receive their services, they have to fill in an intake that determines their zip code. So that's what part of our monitoring process is. We get to see, okay, how are you tracking Issaquah? What is your internal system? So it does vary.
Maybe this is kind of Commissioner Hammond. I'm looking at in terms of like the background of human services and talking about residents with low income, disability, individual, homeless, immigrant, refugee, and other groups. Now, given that number, 22,353, I know this is high in the sky. Is there ways to break it down to that specific demographics?
We do receive annual demographic reports from our nonprofits that we could get reported numbers. Again, not everything's reported. But yes, we do have that information of people who, whether it's by race or by poverty or disability. So that is something that we do collect.
Also, those that are unhoused, do they have a zip code?
Unhoused is a little tricky. So the way that we, in our unhoused or homeless outreach program, the way that we basically we gather that information versus like our nonprofits. So shelters, for example, our funding has shifted where it previously back before my time, they had to, if Issaquah was funding Porch Light, let's say, Congregation for the Homeless back then, and we basically paid for like 2 beds per month, they would have to save these beds for Issaquah. Then there would be these empty beds. But because of the way the funding cycle works, so we had to shift our funding to say, okay, this is a regional problem. And so we are regionally funding these beds for unhoused individuals, since it really is hard to determine where folks are from or where they live. They don't have a zip code.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you know how the different nonprofits collect the intake information, or
Is it like somewhat streamlined? Is it completely?
Yeah, this has been a conversation for years now that we would love just kind of like one, just like technology that would suffice for all of our nonprofits. Yeah, you worked at a nonprofit, you
Yeah.
know, the challenges of that, it's really hard. I mean, it's expensive, you know,
You can have someone that comes to the food bank that's, you know, like couch surfing, so they have a zip code for Issaquah, but then maybe the next time they come, they've couch surfed someplace, so it's the same person, and it's really hard to. It's really,
and I think for nonprofits, and maybe you can attest to this, is data is really important, right? Because it's a part of granting cycle. And I think you're going to learn more of this in the equity training. But a lot of nonprofit services, it's the narrative, right? It is the work that's happening that is really hard to quantify, but you know is making a needle movement impact in people's lives. So I think it's really important in reviewing these grants and reviewing these reports of understanding. Numbers are important. Numbers do tell a part of the story, but just a part of the story. That's why it's so helpful to see the narratives and get these life-changing success stories that we get to read in these reports. So to give us the fuller picture of the type of impact that program can have.
And
Sorry. When you guys ask for this information as part of your quarterly reports, is that like all streamlined as well? Or is that like each nonprofit can provide it in their different?
It's very streamlined.
Okay.
Yeah, so they get to do one report and they get to basically report to like their 5 different funded cities and get paid either in a pooled fund or separately. So it's a very streamlined process, at least for that.
Okay, so then you guys would be able to have that data aggregated, like from all the different nonprofits together, at least in one function. That the city doesn't have to be like, oh, I received this report as like a Google sheet, or this one is in Excel.
Yeah.
And this one's like
Yeah.
a separate system.
Yeah.
Okay, so there would be like a way to potentially get like statistics of
Mhm.
how many services and people. And
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I think also the important part is that the human part of this is that we don't want to be invasive to those that come in.
there's a line to navigate there. Yeah.
Yeah, we've learned there's just some questions and demographic questions that are not appropriate to ask or people don't feel safe sharing right now. It's the challenge of this type of business. People are not numbers, you know. Thank you, Commissioners. Great comments and questions. So part of this report, I like to kind of share out kind of the trends that we see in the challenges, and then we'll end on a positive note and share some highlights. 2025 was a tough year, though. I think we had a few meetings. We talked about it here. You met many of our nonprofits that also attested to many of the challenges they saw. A trend that I kept on hearing from our nonprofits in our narratives, but also in special meetings, is just this common theme of the need just keeps going up, and funding was cut significantly in 2025. We saw it here locally, City of Issaquah had to make funding cuts. We saw it statewide, and we saw it federally. And the impacts we're still going to see that trickle effect probably for years at this point. In addition, we had administration changes and federal policy changes that left a lot of just kind of this unknown, this what does this mean? When are we going to see the impacts here in Issaquah? What does it mean for nonprofits trying to do their services? We saw nonprofits decline federal funding because of the policy changes. So we saw those impacts. We also recently in Q4, we had a government shutdown with SNAP benefits. So there was a month-long kind of food basic need crisis of where's food going to come from? How do people access this? Can they drive to work, or do they feed their family? And then specifically here in Issaquah, we saw the flooding, whether you all were impacted personally, but we also saw our unhoused individuals were displaced. We saw our nonprofits struggling. I saw in our narratives, it impacted how services were provided because people couldn't access or leave their house or do home visits. So we saw a lot of those challenges. Continuing on, a lot of our housing programs, rental assistance programs, saw a common theme between all of them talking about just this common increase in rent, and there was a lot more eviction notices, so a lot more people were needing financial assistance to stay housed. And then we also saw a few more reports of individuals that were self-reporting they were sleeping outside or living in their vehicles. So housing continues to be a challenge here in Issaquah. Within the policy changes, I think these were just constant words I kept on hearing. Just people so fearful. Again, we had, I think especially with ICE and immigration changes, a lot of people not leaving their homes, causing isolation. Just a lot of again, this uncertainty. And we know when you live in unknowns, it increases stress. So just a lot of anxiety from our staff from the nonprofits, as well as our residents. But one of the things we heard from our nonprofits is, again, with these policy changes, it really impacted our immigration population, our unhoused, people with mental health, and our non-binary and gender identity community members. Have been just very much sharing these stories of just afraid, not going to services, not going to the food bank because they don't want to leave their house. I just thought this was interesting. Got this information from Crisis Connections when the government was shut down, and you could see just again that common theme of increase in need and decrease of funding. So there was no funding during shutdown, but you can see the blue line is 2025 compared to the yellow line in 2024. Just a significant amount of need just going up. Okay, but on the good note, some highlights, because it wasn't all bad. I do want to highlight a few things here. Biggest one is I can't tell you how proud and impressed I was of our Issaquah community. People are currently living in fear with the government shutdown. Basic needs were down, food was down. But what I kept on hearing from our nonprofits is we have a lot of donations. People are stepping up. We have people who are supporting us in different ways. And I think that just attests to the type of community we live in, is that we care. We care for each other and we care for a healthy community. And it really takes everybody involved. So I think that was just extremely impressive. And again, just very proud of Issaquah for that. I also want to shout out to our leadership, whether it's our city mayor, city administration, in our parks department, with Brenda as well. Just a lot of advocacy in our in human services. I mean, that's a huge part of our job, is to know what's going on with our vulnerable population, what are the needs, and to help share that story in a way. And we saw that with our Mayor Polly responding with emergency funding, and with support with our different challenges that we came across. Another big success, I would say, is advance payment. So advance payment is a new process of offering our nonprofits basically money upfront. So we're a performance model. We need to pay them based off of them meeting their contract. But we heard for years saying that's really hard for grassroots organizations. They kind of need the money up front. So we implemented that for the first time this year, and so far successful. There's no concerns with people not meeting their contract goals. So we're going to just continue to monitor that. But the other thing that I saw that I've actually not seen it at this level before in my years here is our service units, right? So we talked about the scope of work, the service unit being case management or financial aid or different things like that. Everything was well over 100%. I mean, it was like some were 1,000% over what our contract was. So again, I think it speaks to the need, but I think it speaks to the impact and to our Issaquah residents that they're having. There's a lot of work being done, and a lot of people are exceeding their service unit goals. 211, again, these are just some highlighting a few nonprofits. 211 transition. They are now the sole 211 provider at 988. So if you call 988, they're the ones who are answering those lines statewide. So here's just some numbers that they provided. When they took over October 1st, they saw an increase. So I think they're just saying, hey, this is a very efficient way of doing this. So good on 211. Circle, just highlighting some of their top needs. Basic needs is always, usually I always see it at the top 3, but we saw it as our number 1. Housing, advocacy, legal services, we know is up there, mental health. They do a lot of great services. And then a free book, I think their stats are always really helpful and wanted to highlight a few things. They did see a 16% increase in their households served in food services since 2024. They saw a different trend this year, which was larger size families and households, mostly because they're multi-generational. And they have an increase in diverse client base, they reported. They are wonderful working with our school district. They have Power Pack program they've had for many years. They saw a 41% increase in that. Additionally, they had a very successful holiday gift program serving 444 families, providing gift cards and serving 1,100 children. Okay, so that was 2025, and I always like to say what's next. For 2026, as you all know, we have our grant process, again, that we'll be doing more training on. We'll be focusing on our strategic plan and those priority areas, and we'll be following our equity training guidelines, and then we'll be using our review toolkit to help make those funding decisions. Boom. Any questions or comments?
I was on this highlight page that you did.
Oh, yeah, that's actually going to be our next topic.
Oh, okay.
Anything about our grants, though?
I was curious about the advanced payment. So to be able to do that, you have to pull from a purse. Where is that coming from? Like
General funds?
Just general funds.
Yeah, we have it allotted, so the 612,000.
Yeah.
It's already basically like in our bank that we are able to pull.
But that's not going to the organization. That's already been allocated to the organizations that are going to receive the funds. But you're giving them, like in Q4 last year, they received money from a purse. That wasn't the purse that they received from, that was allocated for the human services.
Yes, it was. So for example, so annually we have the 612,000 plus that is divided by the 42 programs. So we've allocated a dollar amount per program. So for example, the Circle receives 42, is our largest program funded for 42,000. They signed up for advance payment. So in 2025, they received 21,000 in when contract was created in Q1, and then they received their second. They still provided the quarterly report saying, hey, we're doing the services, here's our update. And then July 15th is when they received the second payment.
Okay.
So instead of doing a quarterly payment of 42,
Okay.
yeah. So they're just getting the money up front basically, but we're still monitoring their performance.
Okay. So it's still part of the human services budget.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we brought that in last year, if I remember right, and it was agreed that most of these nonprofit places need the funds up front.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
All right, any more questions? I'm going to go again, turn it back over to Human Service Division highlights.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, let me share my screen one more time.
Really good job, Hannah.
Oh, thanks, Maury. You know, I love this stuff. I nerd out on human services. Okay, well, now to kind of transition to our human services division. So that's our kind of staffing highlights for 2025. So Brenda and I are going to present on this one and kind of divide and conquer this. So you have commissioners in your packet as well as online. We provided 2 reports. The first one is a pretty highlight page with numbers and pictures and colors. And then the other report is the kind of more the meat of the detailed information that provides the background information, a few more metrics and outcomes from our division. So let me just start. Human Services Division, really, we are a small but mighty team. So we have Brenda, our Human Services Manager, myself as the coordinator who works with the planning and the funding. And then we have three behavioral health coordinators who provide direct service in our behavioral health and homeless outreach team. Our division really is intended to serve our vulnerable population here in Issaquah. We are known as an affluent area. However, we still have people who live in poverty. We still have people who are unhoused. We still have the elderly, the young, disabled that our funding really goes to support. Human Services used to just be primarily focused as a funder to our nonprofit. And we have expanded and grown in the last 5 years to a division that does the direct service, that does our planning, our advocacy, the coordinating. In my role, my bread and butter is really our human services, which includes our strategic plan, our human services grants, our coordinating the relationships with our nonprofits, monitoring those grants. And so the highlights here it's kind of a repeat of what we just talked about. So I'm not going to go in too much detail about that since we had a big presentation on that. But the main things, again, that I want to highlight, at least from the human services side, and then I'll pass it on to Brenda for more of the behavioral health and homeless outreach information, is human services. I think, again, my role and my privilege that I have is working with our nonprofits, and our nonprofits do a lot of very impactful work. I think we learned that a lot here last year, having the nonprofits share what their programming looks like in Issaquah. But it is always such an honor to partner with them and to learn what's going on, what are the trends, what's working well, what's not working well. One of the things we had impacted for this our city is that we had funding cuts this last year. And one of those funding cuts was our cultural specific programming. So we had 5 different cultural events throughout the year that we would host and fund. That those dollars got cut. However, we still had nonprofits saying, we still want to do it. We want to make this happen. It's important to our community. So the city was able to help support that through space, through staffing. And so we saw Hispanic Heritage Month and AAPI month. And then we, of course, had our Cultural Fest, which is a city-sponsored event. Another highlight, I think, that happened in 2025 is a creation of a new nonprofit to help the service gap of clothing. So we had Community Clothing Closet have 2 free clothing events that were extremely successful. You had a chance to meet with them, and they will be applying to this next funding cycle. So really excited about a new development of a nonprofit that's Issaquah specific. The other thing I want to highlight that we did in human services is really comes from our previous mayor, Mayor Polly. She really wanted to understand kind of the human service crisis that we might be stepping into. And so she did a wonderful job with our council member, Barbie Michelle, of trying to basically gather the data, the stories, to take it to the next legislative and state level to say we need funding in human services, and this is why.
So Mary Lou was doing that, and she was also meeting with community nonprofit leaders. Is that going to continue with our new mayor?
The plan is, yes, mostly through Barb D. Michelle. She will be council president, Barb D. Michelle. She will be moving forward with that initiative. And from what I've heard, Mayor Mullet is supposed to participate in that, but he's, week 3, so he's learning a lot right now.
Sure.
Okay. We'll see that, but we do have a council member who is pressing on with that.
Okay, very good.
So that's human services. Again, we went through most of those highlights already in our previous.
So, but I did want to ask a question here. So the bottom line here, so 184 individuals.
I'm going to do that.
Oh, that's you. Yeah, dang it. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay.
Close. So I'll transition to Brenda over to focus more on our direct service programs that we have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda.
I just want to start by a great big thank you to all of you. I don't get to be here very often. You'll see me a lot more now with Hannah transitioning into her new role. But it's just really good to be here and to see all the work you're doing. And I'm looking forward to it. And you're going to see that I'm going to keep this very brief. So we'll take a look at first the types of homelessness that we saw. Kind of the usual things, couch surfing, the people staying in shelters, the people on the street. Those are the ones that we really can kind of see and know who's out there. But the vehicles, I just want to kind of make a point here. They have to move every day. So I really believe that this number is underreported. I think there's a lot more people out there in their vehicles, and they constantly have to move and cycle, and it's very unfortunate. And we don't have safe parking here in Issaquah, so we're not seeing them congregate in the evening and able to count them. So that's something to kind of look at. As far as the annual contacts, you can see 1,806 contacts. And what I would say about that is a contact can be, very brief. It can be a few minutes, sending someone some resources, or it can be something that takes several hours. We could be out on a call with someone, with the police, with community partners. So those contacts, I think it's pretty impressive that we're seeing a number that high. But when you add in how much time that actually takes, I think it's even more impressive. Our behavioral health coordinators, like Hannah mentioned, they're doing awesome work, and it's just every day is new. You never know what you're going to see each day and how much time that's going to take. So the other thing that so looking down below then, the 184 individuals that we serve, those are unduplicated. So that's how many people have reached out for services. And then you see again the number of contacts, the 366, that's the number that we measure of service connections. Those are actual followed through with being connected to that service. So there could be multiple times where we offer the resources and people are like, not interested, no, thank you. But these are the ones that we have actually made that connection. I also want to draw your attention to the number permanently housed, 9. It might look like a small number. This is huge for our area. And also the people that were housed, I wish I could tell you a story about every one of those people. I could tell you a story about every one of those people. I won't, but we know them. We know their story. We know that they have been on the streets in Issaquah and other places. Some of these of the 9, more than 10 years. That's a long time. More than, I think we have a couple of individuals who are closer to 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
So the work that we put in with these people and again, calling out our behavioral health coordinators, they have spent hours not only looking for the resources, but building a rapport with them. When someone has been on the street that long, you can't just say, hey, I have a housing opportunity for you. You really have to get to know them and hear their story, and you have to feel the rejection of having something available to them and having them say, no, thank you.
I have to add, they have to trust you too.
They have to trust us.
Yes.
And they do. Yes.
So what's the retain on that? As
So
well?
we're still, I think it'll be interesting to see over the next couple of years because, and I'll talk about this in a minute. Well, I'll talk about it now. So we have a new program that we're working with called Coordinated Entry. And some of you might be familiar with that. It's part of the homeless management information system with King County. They have a program where really the first step in finding housing is to get them on this list. So that once they're on the list and we know who they are and we know what the need is, the coordinators then daily are able to nominate them for housing that comes up. So there's a pool of housing throughout the county, and it's several steps. I won't go into all the details, but we've basically interviewed them to find out where will you go, what will you accept, what location, when is it available, what criteria. Some of it is based on the time that they've been unhoused. Some of it is based on age, on disability, or substance use. So there's a number of criteria. And we hadn't used this before in the city of Issaquah until about 6 months ago. And all of the staff went through extensive training. And so I think now we're really going to be able to answer your question, Manny. I think now we're going to be able to see, okay, well, you have this person housed now. Maybe it's in Seattle, maybe it's in Bellevue. How long did they stay? And I think that's going to be really an interesting number because part of the problem in Issaquah is we're taking people who are from here. This is their community. And because we don't have those resources here, placing them somewhere else, which is great that they have a place to go, but will they stay? Or do we see them coming back here? Now we're kind of taking them away from their support network here. So a lot of to be determined with that number.
So is more permanent housing available, but there's a lag in getting people making the right match?
The matching process is a big part of it.
Okay.
And it's not just, the list is huge. And,
Yeah.
there's people who've been on the list for years, unfortunately.
Mm.
So, yeah, just a couple of things I wanted to point out. And then also in thinking about the people we're working with, the acuity of the mental health and substance use issues that we're seeing is so high. It's hard to put a number on that, but you probably know just from the people you encounter, we're encountering people who have significant mental health and substance use issues. And, back in the day, they used to put them in hospitals or, and so that whole system has changed. And so now we see and deal with people who are really in a crisis situation that, we wouldn't normally see. And I'm not just talking recently over the last couple of years, I'm talking decades of a cycle, if you know what I mean.
So, yeah, police referrals here is difference between police referrals and behavioral health, or is there different numbers? Because police referrals could be someone that's putting someone else in danger, where.
Right, so police referral, we also knew to the behavioral health team this year is that we are able to be dispatched out directly from Issaquah Police Department from dispatch. And so a police referral is when maybe the police go out, they have a call, and either they call us directly and dispatch us to that call, or they send us a referral afterwards and we make contact, send resources, connect them to services. So that's what a police referral is. Other referrals come from walk-ins, they come from community partners, they come from across the community, but those ones we track specifically.
I guess the wording threw me off as well. You're looking
Right,
at
yeah.
referrals from police.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, not to police.
okay.
Good,
Oh, that's a good point,
good
Mandy.
point, yeah. No, these are from, and we're working side by side with them on those referrals.
And this is Commissioner Jaime Burnett. I appreciate you kind of highlighting. I was just gonna go there with that, Manny, is that I think with Mayor Mark Moley talking about strong public safety, this goes hand in hand with, I used to work in the juvenile system, 14 years court, and you name it. And you brought the point about hospitals, but that was the idea. Sometimes you can't police yourself out of it in terms of safety. So I love the fact that we're continuing that partnership, because that is safety, meaning that you're providing services to families that meet our end, from mental health, housing, substance, acuity, and that you can't police yourself out of it. That is the work, is actually to do the connections, the rehabilitation, the working. You can't just, hey, this person's having experienced mental health and we're gonna be, jailing this individual. That was the case in the 80s and 90s. Now you're seeing how do we provide safety for all, including the people that are being impacted. So I love the fact that we're tracking this information and ways to ensure that we are bringing safety for all, including people that are, struggling. There's a good book that talks about you can't just keep punishing the poor,
Right.
Through criminal systems. And so I love the fact that we're continuing that partnership with law enforcement to ensure that we're providing the best services. And I think that is what we do here in the human services.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's also worth noting too, in the work that we do with the police is, from a staffing perspective, I don't send the team out one at a time. They're in pairs. So the impact on staff, when you look at 110 police referrals, generally that's 2 people going out
That's
to
awesome.
make sure that they're safe.
Mhm.
And then there's also on the back end of that, there's co-training that needs to
Yeah.
happen more so with the police department. We've started and I feel pretty good about the policies that we have in place, but that's something we'll be doing ongoing as well, as we'll be making sure that we're co-training with our emergency responders on the fire side and the police side. So again, when you see these numbers, there's a lot that goes into that.
Now, how is the police side accepting and I guess,
Being open.
yeah, being open.
Yeah, I think we still have some room to grow, but I think it's been a great response. I think that, I think they definitely see the value, and unfortunately, there's not enough of us. We can't be there 24/7. And a lot of police calls do come in the evening or on weekends, and so we're not able to be available, I think, as much as we would like to be. But the relationships are growing and the trust is growing. And I think we're really on the right track to work well with them.
I'm sitting in this chair, so I have to remiss that it's 8:09 right now. And I would move that we go another 10 minutes, if
Yeah.
that's okay with everyone. Just to put people at ease that we're going towards the end, but
Yeah, absolutely. And that is all I have for mine. So if there are other questions, then.
So in these annual contacts, like in 2025, the 1,806, were those like all contacts just from the 3 behavioral health coordinators?
Yes, a handful from Hannah and I.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're in the office and there are times where I'll still go out on the, if we have only one person available, I'll jump in the car and still go out and work in the field. So
Okay.
yeah, that's a lot of contacts for one small team.
Yes, that is very high.
And the increase you'll see too, a lot of that has to do with the coordinated entry because it does take so many more contacts to do that housing piece. So, we're officially not case managers, but we are doing some case management tasks. And so that has increased the number as well.
Okay.
And the coordinated entry program, that's an east side, like that's a
That's a
consultant.
county-wide
County.
system.
Okay.
and I have to applaud both Brenda and Hannah. This is your babies, I know. So congratulations. The numbers are amazing.
Thank you.
And then the other question I had, so for the types of homelessness, like the shelter is only like 10%. Do they have, like, do you think that number could be higher? If there's
I know,
like
it's crazy.
spacing, or do you think that number like will probably usually stay around 10% just because there's not additional space?
I think it would definitely, if we had shelter here, we would be seeing that from, what am I trying to say? We would be seeing that directly. But this is from self-report. They're telling us that they are staying in shelter.
Right.
And I will also add, we offer shelter all the time. A lot of people don't want to, unless there's emergency weather, people are more inclined, or they're offered a motel voucher. But congregate shelter, especially COVID, really transitioned shelter because it turned into moteling. And so now that's been the expectation for, years later. But that's expensive.
Yeah.
Not sustainable. So a lot of folks would rather we found choose to sleep outside than be in a shelter situation. They find it safer outside than in a shelter in some cases. So,
And they certainly don't want to travel to be in the shelter. So they don't want to get on the bus to go to.
Yeah, no, I
Gate or-
understand. I worked for many years in a homeless youth shelter, so kids under 21.
yeah.
So, and they were like, I don't trust anyone here. So definitely get that, but just always looking at like, well, if there's additional services, like would they be used or?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
Like the evening, we have chair and commission reports. Anything from the chair? I think.
I don't. I'm just grateful I'll say this, I'm grateful to be doing this journey with all of you, even the folks on the screen. It's gonna be a good learning experience around the strategic plan, that grant funding, and as Hannah alluded to, it's gonna be one of those things that we're just gonna have to lean in, given these tough decisions. And also I would encourage too is, what do we want as our goals, after the grant cycle? One of the things we kind of agreed as a group was having the site visits, having the nonprofit folks coming in. And that naturally would fit hand in hand to like really get a pulse around some of the decision making. And that might be something as we finish out the funding cycle to start thinking about that as well. So.
Thank you. Our youth report. Mr. Preston. Still with us?
Yeah, sorry, I had to turn my camera off. I'm having some Wi-Fi issues and the camera kind of struggles with that one.
You got anything for us today?
No youth report for today.
Oh.
I'm just going to add to the youth report topic for you, Preston. I don't know if you were here when Manny asked the question if we could look into youth representation here on our commission to have more, to have a vote, an official vote, and maybe hold a position. I did check in with city clerks about that, and basically that is a bylaw change. So we would need to go into those bylaws and change it. However, I was told to push pause on that because we are looking at that citywide to see if we can change that youth policy. So hopefully we'll have more youth voice and representation citywide on our boards and commission. So more information to come on to that. So
Sounds awesome. I'd love to get to vote.
yeah, we still like your vote. I still kind of count your hand, but the official, yes.
That's great. Thank you. And staff reports.
Okay, staff report. So I always report on council and mayor updates. So we have some basically staffing changes on that end. So I listed those out there. So we have a new mayor, Mark Mollett. I listed kind of his priority areas from an email he sent. New council members with new position. Barb D. Michelle's our new council president. Tola Martz is our deputy council president. We have a new council member, Kevin Nichols. And then our vacant position, when I filled this out, we didn't know who it was, but I can give you an update. The council is Paul Adair, I believe is how you pronounce it. He was voted in last night. Tuesday, yeah. Tuesday, yep. He is on the park board currently, and he also served on the public facilities task force. He has accounting background, so he has been appointed to be on the council. And then the other part I give updates on is our Human Services Commission updates. I like to use this for our schedule because it's a busy year. You can see all the work that we've done. Oh my goodness, we did a lot this last year, but I want to focus our attention on the upcoming meetings. This is the schedule that we kind of agreed on since last time we met in November. If anything needs to change, let's discuss it. But currently we are scheduled for not meeting in February. The reason why is February 18th, our regular meeting is a religious and cultural holiday with significant work restrictions. So we would have to do a special meeting. Since we're meeting twice in January, twice in March, we decided to take a pause in February. The next time we will see each other will be a while. So it'll be actually as a special meeting. March 14th is our equity workshop, and that's going to be at City Redmond Hall. Please note, folks, this is in person only. Hybrid last time did not work, and so we are just requiring it to be in person. If you can't make it, we'll give you an update. Yeah, please carpool.
Oh, Manny. Oh, gosh.
We will be starting at 8:30. Please arrive as close to that as possible. This is the time to grab coffee, mingle, all that fun stuff. We will begin at 9 promptly. This is a little different format. We are making it a 3-hour, so just kind of gear up for a Saturday morning. If you're not able to attend, please let me know. I already am aware Maury will be out of town. Thank you, Maury. We'll fill you in on that. This workshop really, just so you heads up and you'll receive some emails on this, there's going to be homework. So pre-work will be sent out. Do whatever you can. I know everyone's busy, but just it will help kind of get everyone on the same page to start off with the workshop. So invest in that what you can, and that will be sent out a couple weeks prior. And then the workshop is kind of gonna be, you know, again, everyone's a little bit different on their equity journey, so we're gonna go through some basic information, some foundational information. And then we're gonna get a little more in how do we have this equity lens in reviewing these applications? How do we implement in our toolkits? Some good breakout sessions. But I think what will be the most impact for us is the post work. So the post work is going to happen on our regular meeting, March 18th. That's where we're going to basically do the follow-up. I love the timing because it will be still fresh in our mind. We'll go from a Saturday meeting to a Wednesday meeting, and we'll discuss the training, the implications of that, and how to gear up. So that will be March 18th is we'll do that follow-up discussion that will be Issaquah specific. And that's when we will start getting in the nitty gritty of our process and how we will facilitate that. April 15th, we will continue with the preparation. Hopefully I will still be here. Application closes April 6th. My goal is to have all the numbers for you all by the 15th, saying this is how much was requested, these are how many programs were requested. I will have them categorized within our strategic plan priority areas. And at that point, we will need to decide subgroup review groups. Then that will probably be my farewell. Hopefully I'll last that long and my water won't break when I'm here. And then Brenda will take over for our May meeting, which is basically, you'll have a homework assignment to just look at one application, maybe two, and then come back in May if you have any questions. And this is where we'll just make sure everyone feels very solid about the review process. They're good to go. June, there will be no meeting. However, you'll have lots of meetings. You potentially will have our joint meeting with Equity Board, and then you'll be doing subgroup meetings. Those will be hour-and-a-half long meetings, at least two, between June and mid-July, where you will not be on camera. It will not be a quorum meeting. It'll just be a discussion on your priority area with your subcommittee group and staff. July 15th, you'll come back and we'll have a report out, have a discussion. At that point, we'll probably need some follow-up meetings, and then we'll come back in August. Or if you need a recess in August, you can come back in September at the latest and vote on your recommendations. And then you can breathe a little bit. Take a little break. And then I'll be back in November. You can tell me all about it. Yeah, so any questions about the schedule moving forward? Got a fun year ahead of us.
Wow, is there any other business? I think I want to make a statement that I ran into a show, Rachel Maddow's show called Burn Order.
Burn order?
Burn Order, which was highlights on the Japanese American incarnation after World War II. It's amazing, done with very, very well. If you get a chance to see that, and you can see it on YouTube, it's called Burn Order. Heard about it. It's very touching. It's any other questions? Well, that ends our meeting for today, and I will close at 8:22 p.m. Thank you all.
Well done, Andy.
Good night, everybody.